So let's have a look what happened in the House today. Pretty fiery, and Luxon had a crack at Hipkins, and Hipkins had a crack at Luxon, and here is the Silver Fox to tell us more.
Under new management or a shambolic start, the Prime Minister and his opposite number trading barbs on the first day back in the House. The red carpet was rolled out for the official start of our 54th Parliament. The Governor-General laying out the government's plans. Political editor Jessica Much-Mackay was there.
A dignified and grand state opening of Parliament.
See, this pomp and majesty, pomp and ceremony that we're seeing here. Last night when I said the thing about swearing allegiance to the king, and it's been a kind of a part of the tradition and the pomp of what we've done, but now's a good time to start asking the questions, can we have an alternative? I see that band coming up, and that kind of fits in the same area. Pomp, ceremony, history. You know, as a brass band that relevant to New Zealanders today? Probably not, but it's all a part of the kind of, it's the majesty of the thing. You know what I mean, Shelly? So that's, I can see that conversation we had last night in that as well.
I think just this little clip that we've had is a perfect example of what a lot of New Zealand should be. You have the brass military band, you have the military members there. It's very much a sign of a country that has been part of the British Empire and that sort of thing. Very much those traditions. But then we do have right there, we have the honge, we have the karawai, we have the challenges as they come on and that sort of thing. It is the blending of our histories and culture. That is a good thing. That is, in my mind, what the treaty is about. Let's see both sides that came together to sign a treaty. We have lost that, and we haven't lost it. It's definitely there, but I want to see more than just lip service.
Yeah,
so that's what I see when I see this.
Yeah, it's interesting. You see both sides. You say both sides, and I think many sides, because I'm like, you're right, because we talk about we are a multicultural country, but we are founded on a bicultural agreement. So historically speaking, biculturalism, today's melting pot, multiculturalism. So I wonder if there's another question to ask, like at these sorts of this is the opening of our government. Should there be more representation from what New Zealand looks like today that might go hand in hand with that conversation around who do we swear allegiance to? Big questions, but we've been told by many we're allowed to ask these questions. All right, let's keep going.
The Governor-General declaring it's open for business, laying out the government's plan for the next 3 years.
I think she did that by walking through a door and having a little bell go ding, 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 ding. That's how they declare it's open. I think that's how they do it.
Hello.
A tough listen for those banished to the opposition benches. But with the pomp done and dusted, it didn't take long for the MPs to crack into it.
New Zealand is under new management.
Repeated use of the words like stop, repeal, replace, reverse, disestablish. A plan to go backwards, not a plan to take New Zealand forward.
Lots of people saying but lots of people saying that Chippy has kind of found a voice. It's just a pity he did it 8 to 12 months too late.
Yeah.
And so when I say fair enough for the criticism of Chippy, what I'm just saying in the game of politics, it's like when your team beats the other team in sport, you get to hold it over them. You get to hold the trophy for another season until they get to challenge you again. So you can, all's fair in love and politics. Is that the same? Something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
The new Prime Minister got personal, asking why Chris Hipkins is still Labour leader.
I've been thinking about Chris Hipkins a little bit. I just have to say he is actually like an arsonist who, having thrown an accelerant all over the joint and lit the place up, he doesn't just slink off, leaving the scene, realising he's caused a huge amount of damage. He doesn't actually fess up, put his hand up, apologise to the New Zealand people and actually say he got it wrong. He just simply loiters and hangs around at the scene of the crime, actually just waiting and watching everything.
It's a little bit inflammatory, if you'll excuse the pun.
But Chris Hipkins hit back, saying the government's plan to look at ditching bonuses for te reo speakers in the public service is disgraceful.
And we'll go more into this with our second clip from USUB. So that's got quite a long bit about the King and also more about the te reo speakers in Parliament. But we're going to comment more on that later on. But here's what Chris Hipkins had to say about it.
I believe that te reo Māori is a taonga for New Zealand.
Oh, look, we want to encourage people to learn te reo. It's a fantastic language. But, the Minister quite rightly is taking advice and taking a review of all the bonuses.
That's just ugly. It's ugly to hear that kōrero.
This just makes me sick because I have seen so much effort.
We all have to deal with policies that we disagree with. I'm sorry if it's had that effect on Willie personally, but I also just make the point that taxpayers are giving up a lot of money in return for public services.
National MPs James Meagher and Katie Nimmin were handpicked to go first with the maiden speeches today.
You will go down as one of the most important politicians the South Island will have ever seen.
You're going to go a long way in politics.
All reports come back that I didn't actually see the full thing, as I said, but forget where you sit politically, but actually from a speech, all reports say that this guy did a spectacular job with the maiden speech. And he has a very interesting line about the left not owning Māori. And it's an interesting line because I don't think it's true necessarily. I mean, no one owns Māori. I know what he's saying, but certainly the left are more open to helping Māori rather than hindering Māori. But it was all in all reported very highly as a very good speech he made.
Do I get to reclaim that time back, Mr. Speaker, to the end of my speech?
Most certainly.
The former National staffer giving the speech of the day.
Part Māori boy raised in a state house by a single parent on the benefit. Now a proud National Party MP in a deeply rural farming electorate in the middle of the South Island. But there is no contradiction there. Members opposite do not own Māori. Members opposite do not own the poor.
The scene is set.
So good speech, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying we agree with it, but from the perch, a good speech, Stuart. You don't like me saying that, do you?
No, I get what people are saying. I've watched the speech. It is an excellent speech.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw my reaction when he got to that part, right? I don't understand this, and I never understood this with John Key. I never understood this with Paula Bennett. These guys, how can you look at your solo mum living in a state house, getting a government benefit, seeing all of that, seeing how that helps people, you grow up and you go, no, I'm going to stand against all of it.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck them over.
I don't get it. There's a fundamental, just a schism. I do not understand this. From apart from him being Māori, I grew up in a state house.
Right.
I grew up with both parents, but at some point supported by a benefit and that sort of thing. And what I saw there was a safety net for the people of this country provided by the government. And come hell or high water, I will protect that for people. I don't understand how he's gotten to this place. I honestly would love to sit down and find out what his thought process is on that.
Well, let's do it. Let's ask him.
I think the media has also tripped over themselves praising him for his speech to an unseemly degree, with people already saying, that's a future Prime Minister.
Yeah, that's a bit far.
Dial that back a little bit.
One of the interesting things I did see, and I noticed some people in the chat are also picking up on it, is the part Māori, a part Māori boy, as opposed to,
He's just Māori. He's Māori.
Yeah, but that was interesting. All right, let's go to see some more from the House today.
For a fiery first question time tomorrow.
Okay, you're expecting feisty tomorrow, Jess. The leaders launched into it today, though. What did you make of it?
Each of the leaders got 30 minutes for the speeches today, so they could really stretch their legs a bit. Chris Hipkins went first, and he seemed to be relishing in that new role of opposition leader. He was so energised. In fact, he even seemed to lose his voice at the end of that half an hour. He had a crack at the new Prime Minister for reading his speech notes too much, but Christopher Luxon hit back saying he writes all his own speeches. Thank you very much. This was a big day for the new Prime Minister. He really came out aggressively. He was trying to rub salt in the wound of Labour in this speech. Unsurprisingly, Winston Peters had a crack at the media during his speech. He spent a bit of it talking about his criticism of not getting enough coverage during the election campaign. He also took a swipe at the Serious Fraud Office for its ongoing legal case relating to the New Zealand First Foundation.
It's just all about me. Me, Winston. I've been wronged. My group has been wronged. Me. It just seems a bit, I mean, people have seen it, so I can't comment so much on it, but it's just the reporting of it sounds like a old man yells at cloud. We've said that last night about some of the Winston stuff. It's just like, get off my lawn kind of thing. It's really, I don't know.
Maybe, it's the season, man. Maybe he's a fan of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's Festivus. It's time for the festival poll and the settling of scores.
All right. Nothing like a good festival poll.
Now that all the formalities are wrapped up here at Parliament, it'll be back to business as usual tomorrow.
Can't wait.
There you go. So there's the first one. That's pretty much the report from the House today. Feisty opening hours. I mean, what can we really learn from it? Probably not much. Luxon having some good jabs back. At least I write my own speeches. Hipkins having some good jabs, reading too much from the lines like a guy from boarding school or something. It's just interesting setup. Interesting to see if Luxon will be passive or aggressive or what he'll be in the House. I also think back to the whole we talked about we might have talked about this once. Did you realize he was the CEO of Air New Zealand? Did you know that?
I had heard rumors.
Yeah. But the whole talk about CEOs don't have to get up and fight in their board meetings like that, so it'll be interesting to see if he's got the skills for that or not. Which is as of yet untested. We don't know, but it will be interesting to see how that works.
Someone reminded me today, actually. Do you remember when Air New Zealand tried to copyright Kia ora?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was.
It was him. Yeah, it was him.
Absolute. Just yeah. Can I put up what I've got queued up, Pat?
Yeah. Do you want to set it all up? I know exactly what it is. I've seen it. They've got about at least 4 pictures there, is there?
It's so good. Chat, here you go. The Chloe Swarbrick reacting to I don't know whose speech it was, but just reacting. I'm there with you, Chloe. That's just, yeah. Yep. 3 more years.
Yeah, so I mean, it was what it was. It was an opening, a gaping opening. I don't know, an opening wound, whatever it was. And I'm just intrigued to see where they go from here. There's going to be a sense of how they run the House, who's and what. I mean, Jerry Brownlee said the other day that he's not going to be as strict as other speakers have been. That he's going to let more things go, like as in conversational wise, because he basically gets to decide whether something is appropriate or not in the House. It sounds like he's saying he can let more of it go. I don't know whether that means it'll be advantage to national speakers or to Labour speakers or all of them above. But it's these up between now and Christmas, we'll see a bit more of an understanding as to how that House is going to actually operate. But yeah, so there's not really much commentary to put on that yet, other than let's wait and see what happens. Let us wait and see.
The other thing from what's his name, Mega's speech is what was that fawning, ass-kissing bit about Brownlee being one of the best political leaders the South Island's ever seen?
Yep.
Whoa, mate.
But to be honest, I can appreciate it from the point of a speech. Like if he was doing a speech at school and it was a competition, I get it. But it's not. I know that it's not. So that's why I'm just saying it was a pretty good speech. The content-wise and for my political leanings, didn't like much of it at all. But, interesting to have someone who can sound like they're pretty good with him. I mean, I was actually surprised as a maiden speech how fucking confident he was. He was like, he sounded like he'd been there for a decade. So anyway. Let us say a big thanks to Nick for his $2 super chat. Nick just says my apologies now. Don't know what for. It's my apologies. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry for life. Sorry for the results from the election. I'm just sorry for everything. Dasi Lee, kia kaha, te reo Māori, kia kaha Aotearoa from Dasi Lee. Thank you, Dasi. Appreciate your super chat. Anakihi has actually sent us a couple there. First one says, class traitors, Chewy. Class traitors galore. And also...
I just don't see it. I mean, I can't remember if I'm quoting him or not, or paraphrasing. You know, on one hand, he was saying, look, I was raised by a solo mum in a state house on a benefit. And then at some point he pivots to basically saying she did it all on her own and didn't need anybody's help.
Yeah, which is impossible.
And it's just like, no, just acknowledge the fact that in this country there was help there for her, because your life would be dramatically different if it wasn't.
And as you're implying, if this government then pulls that ladder up, even if it takes a couple of rungs off that ladders, then what he's doing is not giving the generation now who would be his mother the same chance and opportunity and support that she had. That's the point. Anaki also says, part Māori, you mean co-governance within? It's quite good. It's quite clever. I like that, Anaki. Well done, mate.